Welcome to the show where stories unfold.
Let's go.
People doing big things, breaking the mold. They're changing the game, making waves every day.
Big move.
Shining bright with the work that is right.
Shine on.
This is breaking the silence with Nicky
Nicole in the building.
Unleash your inner voice and make some
Turn
noise.
up. Welcome to the Breaking the Silence podcast with Arthur, Nicky, Nicole. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell your cousin, tell your friend, tell your neighbor to come over here and break the silence with Arthur, Nicky, Nicole. Welcome to another powerful episode. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the conversation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Transformation Tuesday. I am your host, Arthur Nicky Nicole, and where we unpack the pain, process the healing, and celebrate the strength in our scars. Today's episode is one that hits close to the soul. No one's coming, so I did. Is about the moment I realized the rescue team I was waiting for wasn't coming. No cape, no escape, no miracle moment. I was tired, heartbroken, unsure, but guess what? I'm still standing. This is the part of the journey where I had to decide either to stay down or get up and fight for the version of me I hadn't even met yet. Spoiler alert. I did. Not because I had it all together, but because I had no other choice but to become my own hero. This episode is for the warriors who kept going when nobody clapped. For the ones who showed up for themselves even when they didn't feel worthy of the effort. If you ever been left to figure it out on your own, this one is for you. So let's talk about what happens when the only one left to save you is you. All right, y'all. This has been it's been over 10 years, I know, where I was in a situation that didn't seem like it was a no way out. It was nothing I could do to save me. But God stepped in and he made a way for me to escape that situation. So over 10 years ago, I was in a relationship. I was in love, y'all. I was so in love that I relocated. I relocated miles and miles away to start a new journey that I thought would be worth it. I thought this person would be the person that I would marry. So, of course, I wanted to build a life in a new place for me and my children. Everything, as always, when you get in a new relationship, everything seems so good in the beginning. Like you're just in love, you're in this honeymoon stage, and everything is just flowing good. I was working 2-3 jobs, going to school full time. I would open up McDonald's as a manager in the mornings, like 5-6 o'clock in the morning, get off from McDonald's, go to Wendy's as a manager, close Wendy's, and then I would go to Walmart as an overnight cashier. Yeah, I was working hard, y'all. And then I would go to school at least 2-3 times the week for my degree. I was just in this mode where, you know what? I got to get it. You know, we got to make this thing happen. This is who I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. Okay. So then the devil decided, you know what? Things are going too good for y'all. Y'all bought a house. Y'all got a condo together. Life is good. Y'all got money. Y'all able to travel anywhere you want to. Let me shake up your world a little bit. So here comes infidelity. Okay. Infidelity came into the picture and rocked our world to the point of no return. I was left in a situation where I never forget it was Christmas Eve, where I was having to walk home in the cold. It was winter, it was winter, Christmas Eve. And I had to walk miles and miles to get back home. I was put in a situation where I was taken to this house, not knowing what was going to happen. When I got there, the police was called, and I was told I had to leave the premises, even though I was brought there to the scene. That was the night that I knew that I had a strength that I never knew I had. Never knew. I was so mad, y'all. I was so mad. Now, after having to walk away that night, I cut my arm. Still have the scar on my arm to this day. Having to leave that scene on foot to walk to another city because our house was in the country. Okay. After I left that night, for a while or whatever, everything pretty much died down after that point or whatever. I moved out with one of my friends and I stayed there for a while. Luckily, I had somebody in the area that I knew at the time. Now, long story short, I'm leaving home. I'm leaving from work this night or whatever the case may be. I had changed jobs at this time. I was working as a manager at Firehouse Subs. So I'm taking 2 employees home. Okay, my tail light is out and I didn't know it. So the police stops me and say, ma'am, do you know you have a tail light out? No, sir, I don't. So may I have your license, the normal license, registration, all the good stuff. Well, I bought it because, that's one thing I don't do. I don't play with the cops. So I gave him everything I needed. So when he came back to the car, he said, ma'am, can you step out of the car? I'm looking like, for what? I didn't do anything. You say you stopped me for a broken tail light. My tail light was out. So I got out the car. And next thing I know, he says, you have a warrant for your arrest. I said, a warrant for my arrest? For what? Still no answers. I had no answers. So I bought it. I put my hands behind my back. They put me in this van, not a regular police car, a van, where you couldn't see out of the van. You couldn't see where you were going, what was happening, nothing. Now, granted, I told you I had 2 employees with me. They were yelling and screaming. They were crying because, they couldn't understand what was going on. Now, I had to leave my car at the scene. So, I bought it. I went on in, did what I had to do. And I never knew, I didn't know anything about going to jail, y'all. I didn't know what the process was. I didn't know what I had to go through. Nothing. So I get there at the time, I'm on my monthly. And I'm told to script. Like I had to take everything off. And they had to violate me to make sure I didn't bring anything in there. That situation right there was the worst ever. So now after all of that, or whatever the case may be, you have to change out of your clothes, of course, into what they want you to put on. So when I make it to my cell, like I said, I've never been to jail before. This was scary. I make it to my cell and I get in there and I'm looking around and everything. There's a sink connected to the toilet. So same place you wash your hands, you also use the bathroom. I'm like, oh, wow. Then next thing I'm told is that if I want to take a shower, I had to take showers with everybody else. Very awkward and uncomfortable. Now, this is in the middle of the night, so it's like late, like maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's late. Meanwhile, I had a roommate too. She's pregnant. And she wants to give me the rundown of how things go and da da da. She's been there before. Been through this and this, that, and the four. It's a bunk bed. She's on the bottom. I'm having to climb to the top. It's cold in this room. Covers don't look appealing. Nothing I want to sleep on, honestly. Next morning comes. They let us out so we can eat breakfast. This didn't make the situation even better. This is the first time I seen, I don't know if that grits was green or red. It was not appealing at all, the way that grits look. So I get this person to come over here, they said, girl, I say, you want that? I scared to death. I gave it to her, y'all. I gave it to her. I said, sure, you can have it. So, okay, not only am I there being violated, but at the same time, I wasn't eating that food. Okay, so then, whether you know it or not, people that are locked up are very intelligent. They just made mistakes to get there. So I'm told as we're sitting around, conversating, that I can call home collect, or I can call a bondsman to come get me. Now, mine, I got paid that same night, so I had a whole paycheck on me. Whole paycheck. So the first call I make is home, of course, because I'm miles and miles away from family. And during the time I made that call, they couldn't help me because it was already a current situation going on in progress. So at this time, I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do? How am I going to bail myself out? I was scared to death. So that next call was a collect call to a bondsman. And it went through. Long story short, he came to get me because, like I said, I had just got paid. So I had money to bail myself out, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that. If they wouldn't have told me that, I would have still been sitting there because I didn't know that I can buy myself out. So my manager, the head manager of the store, she took my car home with her so they wouldn't impound my car and cause me another expense. So she came to pick me up. Not only did she save me the impound fee, my job took up money to help me in my situation and had it ready for me when I got out. That was the first time in my life that a job that I was an employee helped me in that magnitude and cared that much about me. And just thinking about it, I'm like, it makes me emotional because I'm like, that was nothing but love. And the fact that I had a job after the fact was a blessing in itself. So fast forward a little bit. Now, we were in the process of relocating back to South Carolina. So I didn't have a court date set yet, right? So I went back home. We rekindled the relationship. Yes, we rekindled the relationship. We got back together. And after being home for a little bit, we ended up breaking up. I was still waiting on the court date. 3 years later, I was notified that I had to be in court. So I had to travel back 6 hours to go to court. So I took one of my best friends at the time, and we go in there and they tell us where we're supposed to go, and we're sitting there, like we're just sitting there. I mean, hours and hours had passed by. And I went to the bailiff and I was like, listen, do you know when my name is gonna come up? Do you have any idea how long I'm gonna be sitting here? So he looks at the list and he says, what's your name? So I told him my name. He said, well, I don't see your name on this list. So, I always come prepared. So I pulled the paperwork that I received. I was like, well, this says I'm supposed to be here today, but you're saying my name is not on this list. He's like, okay, I tell you what, go down to such and such office and talk to somebody and find out what's going on. I said, am I going to be okay to leave out of here, being the fact that my name hasn't been called yet? He said, yeah, go find out. So we leave out of there and we go into this office that we were told to go to. Show him my paperwork, of course, to prove I'm supposed to be here, and I'm not trying to get in no trouble. I'm not trying to get I'm not trying to get locked up. I'm trying to abide by the law. So I show her the paperwork, and she go, check things out. And she come back and she said, your case was dismissed. Yeah, I stood there looking like, mind y'all, the situation I could have been facing so much time for something I did not do. Okay. My life would have been done. When that lady said case dismissed, I ran. I said, I almost took off, right? Then I think about it. I said, ma'am, could you put that in writing or give me something as proof? So she did. I ran out of that building, y'all. And for a minute, I just ran around in circles saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I know it was nobody but you. God was the judge. God was the lawyer. God was the prosecutor. God was all of that. This is one situation that I knew it wasn't nobody but him. And when I tell you, when I got in that car, I took off. I think I celebrated that night, and then we went back immediately, and I didn't look back. When God has a plan for you in your life, things can happen in your life that looks like it's just coming crashing down and there's nothing you can do about it. You don't know how you're going to get out of it. No one was coming. There was no one to save me. I had to figure out how to get out of this situation. And then even though I figured out how to initially get out of that situation, I still had to pray that God would step in and make the situation better for me. Because as far as I was concerned, there was no way out. No way out. But I'm telling you right now, when you believe in God and you believe that he can do things in your life, nothing else matters. Because he shows up every time and he shows out. And when he shows up, he lets you know it was him and him alone. Didn't have to learn. Let me tell you something. That was something I learned from, and I moved accordingly. And I still thank him to this day for being in the room, for being in the building, for being my voice, for standing in the gaps for me when no one else was there. So I'm here to tell you that even though you're in the midst of your storms or in the midst of something that's going on in your life, if you take it to God and you tell him what is going on, you gotta be like, listen, talk to him like he's your homeboy. Listen, God, you already know what I'm going through. You knew this was going to happen before it happened. Please, Lord, deliver me from this. And I guarantee you, he will show up, show out, and let you know that it was him and him alone. But I thank y'all so much for tuning into another Transformation Tuesday. And I hope that my story can help someone else out there. If this spoke to you in any type of way, share it with someone. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that they can rise regardless of the situation. And remember, your voice is your victory, overcoming your identity, your courage, and your evolution. You've got more power than you know, and your healing helps someone else find theirs. So please follow, subscribe, and meet me back here next Tuesday. So until then, speak life, walk in truth, and keep showing up for you. Later. Transformation isn't a one-time glow up. It's messy. It's quiet. And sometimes it's just getting up one more time when you don't feel like it. So if you're still in the middle of it, if you're tired, uncertain, maybe even doubting yourself, just know this: you're not behind. You're becoming. So I'll see you next Tuesday. Keep building. Broken wings still fly. If this hits home, share it with someone who's still in the process. And don't forget to hit that subscribe. We grow together out here. Later.